Monday, March 30th, 2020, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. In my opinion, we're witnessing the engineered takedown of the world economy on the back of this crisis that we're witnessing. I'm not going to discuss the various theories about this crisis. I'm just looking at the economic side, the monetary side, the financial side, trying to help people cope with what I think will be very, very hard times. I'm seeing comments and headlines from governments in the UK, in the US, all around the world. That makes me think more and more that that's what they're doing, the powers that be behind the scenes. And I'm not talking about President Trump or Prime Minister Boris Johnson. I'm talking about the people who are the clients of the Rothschilds, not even the Rothschilds. These are the people that have had wealth for centuries. They are the powers behind the central banks. Rothschilds and Rockefellers might have a little bit of power, but these people, yeah, they are the clients of the Rothschilds and they're in charge. You might think that is, how can I say, conspiratorial, but read about the Rothschilds. Their biggest clients were royalty, families that have ruled the world for centuries from behind the scenes. They're very low key. I've probably never heard of them. You probably never heard of them. And we'll probably never hear of them. So, yes, what do I mean by engineered takedown? Well, exactly what it means. Engineered. It's not natural. It's been done by design. And why they're doing that? Well, because the debt-based system that we're under, it's come to its last legs. Something that is not sustainable will eventually end, so to speak. And they're wiping the slate clean right now. And in the end, the central banks and the people behind the central banks, the people who own the central banks. And I will even prove to you that the Federal Reserve is privately owned, at least the regional banks of the Federal Reserve System. And what will happen, and I have no idea when this is gonna, the dust's gonna settle, so to speak, with this crisis, when we're gonna get back to normal, to going out and be able to do everything that we used to do prior to this 2020 crisis. So let me just show you something. This is the federalreserve.gov website. We know, of course, and I think many people don't know though, but we know that the Federal Reserve System is not federal, doesn't have any reserves. How do they buy all these assets they're buying? Well, with money created out of thin air. It's not with debt. The Federal Reserve doesn't have to borrow. And I see some people actually saying that it's all debt, but it's not. The Federal Reserve buys debt from the issuer, which is the US Treasury. Now the issuers are increasing in kind. You've got of course, the mortgage-backed securities, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're issuers as well. But now we're getting the corporate issuers being able to sell debt to the Fed. So the Fed does print money. They do not create debt themselves. They create money out of thin air. It's the other institutions that issue debt. The Treasury, which is backed by you, the taxpayer, and the corporations now as well, as they've changed the rules. The Federal Reserve, all they do is type hundreds of billions, they're going to be trillions now, on their keyboard, and they buy these assets and they put it in their balance sheets. And why do I say balance sheets? Well, because there's 12 of them, 12 regional Federal Reserve banks, and they're all privately held corporations. Who are the major shareholders? Well, they're the banks in each district. You'd have to find out who really owns those banks. It's probably going to be tough to find out. There's a lot of shell companies out there. There's a lot of institutions like BlackRock holding shares for different entities, trusts. So it would probably take years to find out who are the actual beneficiaries or owners of these regional banks. But as you can see here, this is from the Federal Reserve. This is the statement of condition of each Federal Reserve Bank, March 25th, last week. All the assets. And as you can see, it's divided up. All the 5.24 trillion right now, it's all owned by the different private Federal Reserve banks. It's not owned by the Federal Reserve Board in Washington, D.C. It's owned by the private banks. So at the end of this engineered collapse, when the markets have crashed, and I think they will, a lot of people who do cycle work, they're seeing the Dow at even 5,000 or a little less by the end of next year or 2022. I did a video recently saying that I think we could go to 9,000, which seems quite conservative compared to a lot of other people. So yeah, what will happen while this collapse continues? People are at home without being able to work, without being able to earn any income. The Federal Reserve will be, well, specifically the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. They do the market operations for all the other reserve banks. They're the top dog. They're going to be buying all the assets. And they don't care if it goes down in price. Because as Jim Sinclair said, and this is not my opinion, this is not what I think, but Jim Sinclair, who's part of, I would say, what they call our crowd, a book he recommended of some of the families that are behind the Federal Reserve. He once said that the Federal Reserve is God. So yeah, God. They don't owe money to anyone. So the Federal Reserve doesn't care if the market crashes. They're going to keep buying. And at the end, they're going to own everything. They're going to own you. Unless, of course, you've been able to protect yourself. Unless, of course, you've done a little bit what I've been saying that I've been trying to do, and that is try not to deal with these people, try not to take on their debt, try not to have a mortgage. And I know that's difficult, but I'm saying trying to get out of the system as much as possible and have tangible assets like precious metals outside their system. And that's the only way that we'll be able to survive through this financially and maybe stay free at the end and not be enslaved by these people. Because yeah, they will bail you out. They'll freeze your mortgage or freeze your credit card debt or anything else. But at the end of the crisis, believe me, they won't write it off, and you'll be more and more beholden to them. So that's what's happening, in my opinion. And why am I sounding so... it's not negative. It might sound negative, but I think it's the reality. Well, yesterday, reading the FT, I saw it was the big headline yesterday in the FT. They said that the government is talking about extending the lockdown that's supposed to be until April 13th. They're thinking of extending it for possibly 6 months. And that rang alarm bells to me because that will devastate the economy. So here's the story. Normal UK life may not return for 6 months. I won't go through the whole thing. I'm just showing you the headline. I'm sure you can find this story everywhere in the media. But yeah, to think that the economy is going to survive through this is to have your head buried in the sand. In the US, and I think the same thing is going to happen in the US. And you might say, no, we're not going to do it. Trump is not going to do it. But I've seen that overnight. There's a headline here in the Wall Street Journal. It says, US extends social distancing guidelines until end of April. President Trump said he was extending the administration's social distancing guidelines for another 30 days through the end of April, after saying for days that he was hoping to open up the country in the coming weeks. America's not going to be any different from China, from Italy, from Europe, from the UK. They're part of the plan. These people run everything. Believe me, I think the same thing that's happening here in the UK is going to happen in the United States. Is Trump trying to stop this? We've seen in the last month or so that he was saying that it wasn't a crisis, that we're going to get over it, it's going to disappear. Could he be just acting, or and then, gradually implementing the plan? He could. Could he be under threat from people behind the scenes and reluctantly be implementing this? Certainly. I don't know. I'm not a fly on the wall at the White House or in the corridors of power at the Mariner Eccles building in Washington, D.C., or 33 Liberty Street in New York City. Those are the offices of the Federal Reserve. So I'm just trying to read the tea leaves and try to make a conclusion about what's happening. And that's my conclusion. They're bringing down this economy, the financial system, the credit system, because it doesn't work anymore. And they're doing it under the cover of a health crisis. I'm not going to get into it, but be as it may, they are shutting everything down, and that's what you need to know. I tweeted out yesterday the story from the FT about the 6 months, that we could be in lockdown for 6 months. Someone replied, well, take a lot of vitamin C. Well, I do. And he said, screw the lockdown. That I can't do unless I want to get arrested and locked up for a few years. And I wouldn't be here trying to inform people about what I think is going to happen. So we don't have a choice, really. I think it's one of the reasons why I saw in the U.S. they're going to put 1 million armed forces on the streets all across the country, because it's going to be a lot of people are not going to go survive through this, not because of the virus. Even President Trump admitted in the press conference yesterday that there will be a lot of deaths and suicides if this doesn't work, and if they have to keep shutting down, extending the shutdown. So the markets then, I think the markets are becoming even more and more virtual markets. And why do I say that? Well, because soon there will be no economy behind the markets, because everything will be shut down. I think the only companies that are going to be running are like the internet companies, Amazon delivering stuff. Of course, the government bureaucracies, they'll still be running and getting their salaries. But most every other business will be ground to a halt. They'll go out of business. So that's why I don't think we have real markets. That's why the Fed is implementing an unlimited QE. They're going to buy everything. They're going to try to keep the markets elevated. But I think people are going to realize when they see that they're going to be on lockdown for months that they need to liquidate their financial assets. And I think there will be a big sell-off eventually. So it's 7:44 a.m. London. Spot gold is at 1612. Well, it's 1612 bid at 1617. It's down 12. Low has been 1604, high 1647. I'm interviewing Oliver Temple of Gold Investments later on today. And as I said yesterday in my live stream, you shouldn't worry about the fiat price of anything really, for that matter, that's tangible. You should just try to have some, because it's gonna be essential for your financial survival, in my opinion. So yeah, silver's getting hit here in these virtual markets. It's down 3.5% at $13.94, down 50 cents. If you're fortunate enough to have some spare fiat money in your savings, and you're fortunate enough to find a dealer that still has physical gold and silver, I would personally think about getting some. It's up to you, of course, to decide. Well, the Dow, I saw yesterday on the open, it was down like 500. It rallied overnight. Before I started this video, it was up 200. Now it's only up 44. The Dow futures, 21,683. S&P is unchanged now, almost up 1 point. The NASDAQ 100 future is up 25 points. The currency is a little weaker this morning. I know the dollar got hit hard on Friday, but today the dollar is a little firmer. Pound is down 0.5%, 123.82. Euro is down 0.5% as well at 110.70. And the dollar is down slightly versus the yen at 107.80. At this juncture, I think, yeah, we look at the fiat currencies, how they move against each other, how the dollar is stronger or weaker. And I think all that is irrelevant. As Lindsay Williams has said many times, the money of the elite is gold. So that's all you need to know. I'm not saying we want to be elites, but the people behind the scenes that control the world, they know that gold is the money. And I'll put a link to a really interesting video from Bell and GP. He did this weekend about how gold is going into hiding. And I said in my video on Friday night that I thought gold was going into hiding, but he's got like the technical reasons why it's going into hiding. I put it up on the cards and below in the description. Have a look at that video. Very interesting. So crude oil, WTI is at 21.95. It's down 3%. The low's been 21.30. I've seen headlines saying that crude went below 20, but on my system, the low is 21.30. I think crude could go a lot lower if the U.S. economy and economies around the world are going to continue to be on shutdown. So I'm going to end it right here. Let's keep an eye on things. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. It helps to get the message out there. And think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, on Facebook, BitChute, Steemit, and DTube. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.